17th January 1963, Vivekananda Centenary Year was formally inaugurated all over the country. Early in the year, ceremonial processions were taken out in Madras on the occasion. Leaders of the region carried portraits of Swamiji through important streets of the city. Festive music suitable to the occasion was played and ceremonial lamps lit. During one of the centenary celebration meetings in Delhi, our Prime Minister said, "Rooted in the past, Swami Vivekananda was yet modern in his approach to life's problems and was a kind of bridge between the past of India and the present." Calcutta, where Swamiji was born, also celebrated the occasion in a befitting manner. In one such meeting in Calcutta, the President, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, said, "Swami Vivekananda, through his message of renunciation, service and discipline, had given India the lesson of gratitude in suffering, courage in despair." In the evening, there was a program in the newly built Ramakrishna Institute of Culture. The 19th century in India was a turning point in her long history. It was a challenge in the inner world of values, even more than in the outer. It was a period of clash and confusion, when the fate of the nation hung in the balance. Would India perish? Among the many figures that rose to meet that challenge and set the balance right, none was more vehement, none more effective than Swami Vivekananda, the greatest of them all, the spirit with the widest wings. A grateful nation gave its full and frank verdict of veneration for the saint and the savior. So also the West. For though India was the apparent theme of all or most of his labor, Vivekananda's vision easily overflew all narrow national and sectarian boundaries. A truly universal man, his vision applies equally well to the human situation. And if the crisis of civilization through which we are passing has to end, this may be the only way out, the way of the spirit and the way of harmony. It is only natural to wish to know something of this noble and remarkable career, profound and paradoxical, modern and ageless, of a rishi and a revolutionary. One soul's ambition lifted up the race. He drew energies that transmute an age. He made great dreams a mold for coming things, and cast his deeds like bronze to front the years. This is Pamban, South India, where Swami Vivekananda set foot on the Indian soil after his triumphant tour of the West. This was on the 26th of January, 1897, a vast crowd waiting patiently to welcome the national hero, all of them waiting to pay their homage to Swami Vivekananda, the patriot saint, the first mighty voice of awakened India. Among them was the Raja of Ramnad, Bhaskar Setupati, with his state coach, ready to receive the royal ascetic. It was a hero's welcome indeed. It was indeed a memorable occasion, the Raja himself leading the throng. Here he comes, defender of the faith, darling child of India, India awakened. Swami was quite overwhelmed, but he took it with dignity, with humility. At night, there was a torchlight procession, and then fireworks. In reply, the Swami said,
"This grand reception is made not unto a military general or a politician, a prince or a millionaire, but to a poor, penniless sannyasin. This shows the spirituality of India. This shows wherein lies the vitality of our nation."
After the grand reception in the south, the Swami left for Calcutta, his hometown, where a grand reception was given to him. From there, he began a series of inspiring speeches all over the country.
My India, arise. The longest night seems to be passing away. Awake from this hypnotism of weakness. Stand up and assert yourself. Proclaim the God within you. Religion alone is the life of this country. When that goes, India will die. In spite of politics, in spite of social reforms, in spite of everything. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest the divinity within all of us. Do it either by work or worship, by psychic control or philosophy, by one or more or all of these, and be free. This is the whole of religion. Doctrines or dogmas, rituals, books, temples, forms are but secondary details.
In all his speeches, nothing was so touching and so revolutionary as his wide and natural sympathy for the poor and the fallen.
Do you feel that millions and millions of descendants of gods and sages have become next-door neighbors to brutes? Do you feel that millions are starving today and millions have been starving for ages? Your ancestors have written a few philosophical works, penned a dozen or so epics, or built a number of temples. That is all. And you rend the sky with triumphal shouts, while those whose heart's blood has contributed to all the progress that has ever been made in the world, well, who cares to praise them? Ye ever trampled laboring classes of India, I bow to thee. For the next 50 years, let all other vain gods disappear from our minds. This is the only God that is awake, our own race. The first God that we have to serve and worship are our own people. Everywhere his hand, everywhere his feet. He covers everything.
Sarvatokshi shiro mukham sarvatah shrutimaloke sarvamavritya tishtati.
Faith. Faith in ourselves. If you have faith in the 330 millions of mythological gods and still have no faith in yourselves, there is no salvation for you. Let us all work hard, brethren. This is no time to sleep. On our work depends the coming of the India of the future.
Where and how did this remarkable life begin? One is naturally curious to know, and this is a good time to remember.
It was here in the city of Calcutta that Swami Vivekananda or Narendranath was born on the 12th of January, 1863. Not far from the holy river Ganga, in this house and its neighborhood, the boy Naren used to play as a child like other children. His father, Sri Vishwanath Datta, was an attorney of the Calcutta High Court, well versed in Persian and English literature, but typical of his time. His father was indifferent to the Indian cultural heritage. But his mother, Srimati Bhuvaneshwari Devi, belonged to the old Hindu tradition. Religious by temperament, she would often read to the boy tales from the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. This was the seed of spiritual life sown early in Naren's mind. His boyish imagination was fired by these tales of heroic idealism. Ramchandra going to the forest in exile, renouncing his kingdom to keep up the promise of his father. Jatayu, the eagle king's self-sacrifice to rescue Sita. Bharat's devotion to his brother in exile. Krishna and Arjun in the battle of Kurukshetra. Mother of the universe, Goddess Durga. One day he purchased a little image and took it quietly up into the attic. A frantic search was made for the missing lad, when at last he was discovered here, sitting self-absorbed before his Ishta, chosen deity. Those days in gentlemen's homes, one would come across these separate huqqas or hubble bubbles for the different castes and for the Hindus and the Muslims. Naren was curious, and one day he took some whiffs from the huqqa marked for people of the lower caste. Then he tried, one after the other, the huqqa for the Brahmins and the huqqa for the non-Brahmins. Men are all alike. Then why are their huqqas different, thought the young ascetic. What are you doing there, Naren? Oh, Father, I'm just trying to find out how one loses caste. But I can't really find any difference. Oh, you devil.
So the boy grew up into a brave and brilliant, intellectually alert young man. Reverend Hasty, the principal of his college, who had taught Naren, had this to say about him. I have traveled far and wide, but I have never yet come across a lad of his talents and possibilities. He is bound to make a mark in life. Words that would one day come true. In his student life, he came in contact with the Western intellectual tradition through the works of Kant,
Hegel, Hume,
and